In this part 3 of the video, we have a target date. We'll finish the project December 12, 2021. So we begin with the ID, which is sequence count A of the task. We continue with the predecessor, which is data validation over the task ID and save. So every task has a predecessor. And let's say we can hire a maximum of 5 men per task. So data validation, list of items, one, two, three, four, five. That's the maximum. And so we have a maximum of 5 men per task. And there are 3 shifts in a day. So data validation, list of items. We can assign a maximum of 3 shifts per task. So there are 3 shifts that you can assign per task. And we continue with the start day formula, which is equal to ifs if the predecessor is empty. Then it's empty. Otherwise, if the predecessor is equal to the task ID, then there's no predecessor, the project precedes itself, then it's 0. If the predecessor is greater than 0, then index. Index the predecessor over the end date. That is the end date. And we lock the first row because we're dragging this formula. So we lock the first row and use the entire end date column. And enter. So the formula for the start date will look like this. Now, the duration, which is equal to our formula, the number of man hours divided by 8 times the number of shifts times the number of men. Enter. And we'll put enter the condition that if the man hours is empty. If the man hours is empty, then it's empty. Otherwise, calculate. Now it's corrected. We continue with the end date. Let's say we have a 1 man per task and 1 shift per day. So that's our default. So we have the duration in days. Next, we continue with the end date, which is our formula. The start day plus the end days. And enter. So if we have the condition, if the total is 0, then it should be empty. Otherwise, and calculate. Now it's corrected. I will chart this. We use the bar chart for this. Bar chart. And let's customize. Let's say task 1 has no predecessor, it precedes itself. Task 2 follows task 1. Task 3 follows task 2. We'll correct this. We'll change the color of the start date. The start date color will change that to we'll change it to grayish. Yep. And we'll just white this out. Text color will white this out. We don't need that one. So we have the duration in days. Now we continue with the end date formula, our target date, which is our formula. This the end day minus the maximum of the end day plus the target date. And we have to remove this. So condition will be if this is empty. If the end day is empty, then it's empty. Otherwise, calculate. Now it's corrected. We continue with the start date, which is equal to our formula. That is this date, the end date, minus the duration. Enter. So that's the end date minus duration. And we'll correct this. If so, if the duration is empty, then calculate. Other then it's empty. Otherwise, calculate. Now we have the starting date, which is equal to the minimum of the entire column. So our starting date is July 15, 2021. And we continue. I would like to add three more. So I'll add three more. So three more tasks. And let's say this task uh, requires 700 man hours, and this task requires 800 man hours. This task requires 400 man hours. Our default will be for now is 1 man per task and 1 day per shift. Let's say, and we'll drag this downwards. So there's formula. There's no formula here, but there's a formula here. So task 4 follows task 3. Task 5 will follow task 4. And task 6 will follow task 5. Again, we'll refresh. We'll refresh this. So the start date will be November 19, which is already last month. We need to correct this, but let's say I would like to add three more tasks. I'd like to add three more tasks. And let's say task 7 requires 700 or 300 man hours. Task 8 requires 500 man hours. Task 9 requires, let's say, 400 man hours. And our default of 1 man per task remains the same, and 1 day, one task per one shift per day. And let's say, and we drag this formula downwards. Let's say task 7 follows task 6. task 8 follows task 7, and task 9 follows task 8. So task 9 follows task 8, and we refresh this again. So our starting date is now June 22, 2020, which is 6 months ago. Let's look for a task that can start immediately. I'm looking at task 5. Okay, let's say task 5. Let's assume we can start task 5 immediately. So then refresh. So our starting date now is February 15, 2021, and we have two projects running. I like to make some changes. I want task 5 to have 3 men, and refresh this. Now the project start date is March 20. Instead of February, it's now March 20. Let's say I still want to have two ships on task 5. Oh, I did task 6. I changed task 6 to 3 men. Okay. Let's say I want to change this to two shifts. Then, so our starting date now is April 18, 2021. Let's say I would like to have two for task 6, and but I want task 4 to have three shifts. I like to maximize this out. So refresh. And I want task 8 to have 2 men and two shifts. I'll drag this one out. Our starting date now is June 15, 2021. I want to have 2 men in task 1 and also two shifts in task 1. So copy, drag this out. I want task 9 to have 2 men or 3 men and two shifts. So copy, drag this, refresh. Now our starting date now is July 28, 2021. This completes the use of uh, RA formula, count a maximum minimum for a just-in-time or lean production project with a target date of December 12,